It's the Panthers and the Falcons, potentially, if the Falcons win, for first place in the NFC South. If they lose, the Panthers potentially back within one game of the division lead. Cameron reports the Falcons have a key cog left tackle Jake Matthews was taken back to Atlanta by the Falcons this morning for delivery of his wife's first child. The hope is to have Matthews back for the Thursday night game. You want to talk about stress in the delivery room. So he's on the plane, gets to Charlotte, and it's pretty close together. So it's a very short plane ride. Presumably it's a flight. Gets there, wife goes into labor, now flies back. And now he's at bedside wondering, well, is this going down? I don't know. Maybe the child's already been born. I don't have the blow-by-blow, the play-by-play. I just know if I was in that room with my wife with anything on my mind about what else I need to do that day, I may as well just not come at all. Don't tell me what time the game is, what time you need to be on the plane. Right. Just stay here and keep your mouth shut. And I love my wife. We have two beautiful daughters together. Amazing. 8 and 5 years old.
Oh, fantastic.
My primary memory of the first birth of my children was waiting for my wife to have the anesthetic kick in to fall asleep so that I could go get something to eat because I was so starving. And we'd been there from like whatever time in the morning. I want to say we went in the morning. They said, no, she's not ready. Went home. Still in it. Go back.
Wow.
They admit her the second time. Now it's like 9 o'clock at night. They finally give her some drugs to like knock her out. And at the hospital we were at in Minneapolis, I knew there was a McDonald's in the other side of it. And so I like had to find my way. And I housed 4 hamburgers,
yeah, you did.
like a large fry, while walking back because I knew I could not enter that room with that smell of like the salty fries.
Wake up.
So I'm literally walking through the hospital, eating this thing as fast as I possibly can, and then got back and just like sat there like, I hope I'm not breathing the salty fry smell into the room here. Jake Matthews is going to be sitting in that room. Again, presumably he needs to eat if he's going to play in an NFL football game. If he does not make it back, which our Cameron Wolf says that they're hopeful he will, now you're talking about a backup left tackle trying to slow down Brian Burns and that Panthers pass rush, which is not overly ideal in that moment. This game is going to be, it's not going to be probably the most highly watched game. Nothing against the Amazon Prime broadcast, of course. I'm guessing, though, there's not a lot of cachet to this matchup. But I'm not sure there's a quarterback in the league that we've talked less about, a starting quarterback this year, than Marcus Mariota. When was the last time you heard Marcus Mariota's name? Seen a highlight? Well, nothing.
I said to start him in fantasy like 2 weeks ago, but that was it.
It's a pickup. He's the 22nd best quarterback in your league.
It was a bye
fantasy-wise. Right, exactly. The bye week pickups. You're pretty far down the line. I'm in a 2-quarterback fantasy league now.
Oh, you starting
and
to?
that has you start 10-ly. It's a super flex and a quarterback. Okay. And it blew my mind. 20 years of starting one quarterback in every league I've ever been in, and suddenly somebody in a 10-team league is starting the 20th best quarterback, or on buys the 25th best quarterback. Mm. And so you're trying to manage, like, who in the world is even being plugged in here? I did not get to Marcus Mariota. He's probably starting for somebody else within the league. But I give a lot of credit to Arthur Smith and that coaching staff. I know that there's a lot of frustration in the fantasy community about Kyle Pitts having, 3 touchdowns so far in his NFL career. Drake London has not had a breakout season. But what you have to remember is Arthur Smith came up as an assistant coach in Tennessee and worked under Mike Vrabel in his last several years there. And if anybody in the league is going to just say, I don't care how we win, we just need to win, it's Mike Vrabel. Watch the Titans right now and what they're dealing with. He had a quote, I think it was to Ed Werder recently, that was along the lines of, being asked about the workload on Derrick Henry. Is it sustainable? And his answer was more or less, well, who are we going to throw to? We don't have any receivers. Traylon Burks just got activated off injury reserve, return to practice yesterday, so potentially some help there. But they haven't even tried really to throw, especially with Malik Willis playing the past couple of weeks. They've more or less said our only hope is Derrick Henry runs for 200 yards. and that is what he did in Houston. He obviously ran it a lot last week against Kansas City. They have to grind it down. And that's why Mike Vrabel, once again, is going to be in the Coach of the Year conversation, along with our guy Mike McCarthy, among others. This year is, exactly, I'm putting it on you too here, TJ.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm striking up the band here. Yeah. He has to be in the conversation because you don't look at the Titans right now and say, there's a lot of guys on this roster who you absolutely would plug in, and that guy's going to be a star on your team. There's who are the receivers? It's not after Treylon Burks. I'm trying to remember his name. Nicholas Akine Westbrook. I probably did not get that name right. It's along those lines, but you don't have receivers. You're playing with a backup quarterback who's a rookie, who's super talented in Malik Willis, but just has so far to go, and made that clear to teams in the pre-draft process that coming from that simple offensive liberty, he was going to need some time here. They find ways to win. The Falcons are doing the same thing. Guess what? They win tonight. They're 5-5, and they are in sole possession of the NFC South lead. That is remarkable. It's wild at this stage in the season. And you know what? Again, credit to Arthur Smith for finding ways to figure it out.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.